Order. Chairman of Ways and Means.
I beg to move, Mr. Speaker.
The question is the motion relating to the standing orders relating to private business, as on the order paper. As many of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Before we begin today's business, I want to make a short statement on the work of the Speakers' Conference. This House knows how seriously I take security of this House and that of its members and staff and families. And so, a year ago, I established a conference to consider the security of members, candidates, elections and the threats against them. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to the many members and members' staff who contributed their time and insights to the conference. Your experience has been vital in the shaping the findings and the recommendations as outlined in the report. We published our first report in June, and today we are publishing our second and final report. Right, we now come to topical questions. The Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, Catherine Fuchs, sorry.
Question number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry? Oh, Lee Dillon. Sorry, I do beg your pardon. I've been given the wrong paper. I should work with the order paper. Lee Dillon.
Thank you. Question number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Topicals I've moved on to quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The clocks went back at the weekend and you nearly put them forward again, just at the beginning. I'm very pleased to be here answering my first set of questions as the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions. I look forward to my exchanges with the Shadow Secretary of State and the other spokespeople in the House. With regard to the question, the state pension age will rise to 67 from 2028. We continue to support later life planning with help with people reviewing their health, finances and skills, including specific work coaches in our job centres for the over 50s, and consideration for the future of the state pension age is already underway as asked for under the 2014 Act.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and can I add my welcome to your new to the Secretary of State's new position. Here in my seat of Newbury, we have over 5,200 women who have been unfairly affected by changes to the state pension age. These women were wronged through no fault of their own, and they deserve justice. With a High Court hearing due in December, this could be a crucial moment for the government to finally do the right thing. So will the Secretary of State now listen to the Ombudsman's recommendations and commit to providing compensation to WASPy women?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do have to remind the honourable member that his party supported the acceleration in the rise of the basic state pension age when they were in government, and that has given rise to some of the questions he's raising today. Now, Mr. Speaker, you would not expect me to comment on ongoing litigation, and I won't do that, but I can assure him and the House that we'll take all relevant factors into account when considering the process for the future.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Previous to my election to this place, I worked for a homeless charity in Harlow called Streets to Homes. One of the cases involved a man who was homeless due to delays in getting his state pension. Can I ask how the Department ensuring delays like this aren't commonplace?
Well, Mr. Speaker, we hope that those entitled to the basic state pension receive a seamless and fast service. This is a pension that people contribute to throughout their lives, and when they reach state pension age, we of course hope that they get it as soon as possible.
Bobby Dean.
Number 2, please, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
With permission, Mr. Speaker, I'll answer this question together with questions 9 and 11. Access to work does a very important job, but current delays with the scheme and our ambition for an 80% rate of employment point to the need for reform. The consultation launched in the Pathways to Work Green Paper closed on the 30th of June. We're now reviewing all aspects of the scheme in light of the responses that we received.
Bobby Dean.
Mr. Speaker, I had a constituent come to my surgery the other week, and they felt pretty frustrated that the Access to Work scheme that once supported them was pulling the rug beneath their feet as they progressed through their career. My constituent has been a model example. He has not let his multiple neurodivergent diagnoses hold him back. He has worked hard, and with support, he's earned a promotion into sort of a deputy leadership position. But it's at this point that DWP decided to reassess him, and they have downgraded his support. Right at the moment, he felt he needed to maintain that support with his new responsibilities. So can you assure us that when these reforms come, they will look to make sure that people can be supported through progress in their career as well as into work in the first place?
Well, the honourable gentleman makes a good point. Obviously, I don't know about the details of the case that he's referred to, but it is important that access to work and our wider employment support enables people not just to get into work, but to thrive once they're there, exactly as he says.
Marshal Decoder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Access to work, the Access to Work scheme provides vital support. It's one of the best forms of support for blind and partially sighted workers. But when their cases or their awards come up for review, they are finding that their support and awards are being significantly reduced. Now, given the government's commitment to keeping Britain working, can the Minister tell me or explain why blind and partially sighted people are seeing their support cut? And will he agree to meet with me and other sightless organisations to see how we can address some of these challenges within the scheme?
Minister.
Well, I say to my honourable friends, there's been absolutely no change in the policy on access to work, but what has happened is there has been more scrupulous application of the existing policy and guidance over the last year. That means that the awards that have been given from access to work have been more consistent, but I do know there have been cases where support has been reduced. I'm looking forward to attending the forthcoming meeting of the all-party group that she chairs on eye health, and that might perhaps give us an opportunity to discuss the issues that she's raised.
Martin Wrigley.
Mr. Speaker. On 20th of May, I met with the Minister to speak about access to work claims that were being denied, changed or reduced, all contrary to the guidelines. The Minister assured me this was a communications issue and the guidelines hadn't changed and that officials were going to fix the problem, speaking to the local job centre. The problems weren't fixed. Since then, both Dawlish Gardens Trust and the No Limits Cafe in Newton Abbot have ceased to provide access to work services because the system just isn't working. And they said every claim was being rejected. And this has been mirrored by the Access to Work Collective. I asked the Minister, who changed the guidelines and why? Or are they simply being ignored to save money at the cost of vulnerable adults? If the Minister would like more information, I would be happy to meet with him again.
Very happy to meet with him again, but I can assure him the policy has not changed. In fact, we just published last week the spending figures on access to work, and spending went up 17% in the last year. It went up 32% in the year before that. So I don't know what's happened in the particular case that he's referring to, but I'd be very happy to have a further look at it.
Dave Beckham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, access to work is absolutely vital, and I agree that at the high end of the scale, sometimes it can be more expensive. But I have a very senior person in the world of theatre in my constituency, running Grey Eye Theatre indeed, and she requires access to work. But even with the right support, there's not enough for the needs that she has, because she needs a British Sign Language interpreter with her at all times. They are at the pinnacle of assessing what people need, and are very good. And I would love to invite the Minister to visit Grey Eye Theatres, because they are great at supporting disabled people into work with access to work support and without.
Minister.
Well, I am aware that a big chunk of access to work does go to interpretation for British Sign Language, and it's not unusual for people who draw on that support to hit the cap, which increased last year. It's now £69,920 per year. We clearly will look at that, along with all other aspects of the scheme, in the review that we are undertaking at the moment.
Shadow Minister Mark Guy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, back in May last year, the party opposite, whilst in opposition, was outraged to learn that average processing times for applications to the Access to Work programme was running at fully 43.9 days. In fact, so outraged was the Labour Party that they made it a manifesto pledge to tackle this very specific problem. Now, Mr. Speaker, after more than 15 months of a Labour government, it seems that far from slashing waiting times, applicants now have to wait an average of 93.6 days. That is more than twice the waiting times under the previous government. A year in government, Mr. Speaker, and the Labour Party has doubled the misery and uncertainty suffered by disabled people. Why?
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we're fixing the very, very serious problems left behind by the previous government. On access to work, the number of people processing the applications has been increased by 118 since May of last year. But the honourable gentleman is right, the delays are still a problem. That points very clearly to the need for reform, and that's what we're getting on with.
Shanker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want every young person in Derby. Question number 3.
Excellent. Secretary.
With your permission, Mr. Speaker, I will answer question 3 together with question 6. Skills are vital to give young people opportunity, economic growth and the country's renewal. That's why, as part of our Youth Guarantee, we are increasing short courses for high-demand sectors like AI and construction, expanding the number of youth hubs and partnering with sports clubs to get help to people where they are in the community. And last week we published the Skills White Paper, which sets out the next steps to train the workforce of the future.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I still want every young person in Derby to see technical education and apprenticeships as first-class, not second-best routes to success. University technical colleges where students are 4 times more likely to process onto apprenticeships are key to unlocking that success. Will my right honourable friend meet with Pride Park UTC to discuss their plans to give young people in Derby real choice and real opportunity by rolling out a new technical centre in our city?
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honourable friend has spoken often about this, and I believe he started his career as an apprentice. And as a former Rolls-Royce worker, he'll have noted the Skills White Paper, and of course he knows all about the importance of that company to the City of Derby. Let me congratulate Pride Park UTC on their plans to have a new technical skills centre, and I'll ensure that he gets a meeting with me or with the relevant minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My committee's recent report on further education and skills highlights the poor level of information on vocational and technical training opportunities, including apprenticeships, currently available to young people while they are in school. And we recommend that UCAS should be expanded to provide a single portal for information on academic, vocational and technical opportunities so that every young person is aware of how they can train in the skills they need to access a good job. Will the Secretary of State consider this recommendation and work with the Department for Education to deliver it?
Mr. Speaker, I very much welcome that question. I think the Honourable Lady raises a very important point. If we are going to have equal status for HE and apprenticeship routes, we should also look at how the information about these is disseminated to potential applicants, and I hope she's pleased to hear that I've already asked the Department to begin work in this area.
Damon Times.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of the worries with the new regime and Skills England is the loss of independence and the guaranteed business voice written into law that existed with the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education. How will the Secretary of State ensure that business does have a voice, setting standards and making sure those standards are upheld so that everybody can have confidence in the changed system?
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member is quite right to say that the business voice and the employer's voice in this is very important. And when I wrote the new remit letter to Skills England, I specifically asked them to take into account the views of employers, because it is very important that in the skills system we are training people in a way that employers want and that meets the future demands of the labour market.
Ashley Fox.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I welcome the Secretary of State to his place with his new responsibility for skills. The government has recently reduced the amount of funding for Level 7 apprenticeships. Yeah. So can he tell the House what assessment his department have made of the potential impact of this reduced funding on the number of nurses in training?
Mr. Speaker, the apprenticeship and skills budget, like every other budget, does demand choices. We are choosing to prioritise the levels that we need in the economy, where the value is greatest. That does imply certain choices, and I'm confident that the choices we've made will benefit the workforce as a whole and future opportunities.
Brace.
Please, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, with permission, I'll answer this question with question 23. We are